This video note demonstrates how to connect a form to server-side processing. Every time you use a search engine, place an order, or join an online mailing list, you use a form. A form is an HTML element that contains and organizes objects called form controls, including text boxes, checkboxes, scrolling text areas, and buttons that can accept information from website visitors. As you've worked through the chapter, you've practiced using the elements that configure these form controls, such as the input element, text area element, and label elements that are shown on this form. Whether a form is used to search for web pages or to buy a product, the form alone cannot do all the processing. The form needs to invoke a program or script on the web server in order to search a database or record an order. There are usually two components of a form: the HTML form itself, which is the web page user interface, and the server-side processing, which works with the form data and sends email, writes to a text file, updates a database, or performs some other type of processing on the server. Your web browser requests web pages and their related files from a web server. The web server locates the files and sends them to your browser. Then the web browser renders the return files and displays the requested web pages. Sometimes a website needs more functionality than static web pages, possibly a site search, order form, email list, database display, or other type of interactive dynamic processing. This is when server-side processing is needed. Server-side processing is a technology by which a server-side script is run on a web server to dynamically generate web pages. Examples of server-side scripting technologies include PHP, Ruby on Rails, Microsoft Active Server Pages, Adobe Cold Fusion, Sun Java Server Pages, and Microsoft.NET. A web page can invoke server-side processing with the action attribute on a form element. Any form data that exists is passed to the script. The script completes its processing and may generate a confirmation or response web page with the requested information. When invoking a server-side script, the web developer and the server-side programmer must communicate about the form action attribute and form method attribute. The action attribute is used on the form tag to indicate the server-side script that should be invoked when the form is submitted. The method attribute is used on the form tag to indicate the way in which the name and value pairs should be passed to the server-side script. Method equals get causes the form data to be appended to the URL, which is easily visible and not secure. Method equal post does not pass the form information in the URL. Method equals post passes the form information in the entity body of the browser's HTTP request, which makes it more private. In this example, the method attribute has been set to post, and the action attribute has been configured with the value of one of the server-side scripts provided by your textbook, http://webdevbasics.net/scripts/demo.php. The purpose of the demo.php script is to create a web page that displays the information entered by the user. However, this script could have been coded to save the information in a database, send an email, or any other type of processing required. Here's an example of the form in action. Enter information in the form. Select the Submit button to send the information to the server-side processing. The server-side scripts receives the name-value pairs for each form control and displays them on a web page. Some web hosts offer scripts that you can use to process forms on your website. If your web host provider does not support server-side processing, free remotely hosted scripts may be an option. The script is not hosted on your server, so you don't need to worry about installing it or whether your web host provider will support it. The disadvantage is that there usually is some advertising displayed. FormBuddy.com, ExpressDB.com, FormMail.com, and Master.com are a few websites that offer this service. Web developers often learn the client side first, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then progress to learning a server-side scripting or programming language. If you're interested in learning to write your own server-side scripting, plan to explore PHP, Ruby on Rails, or Microsoft.NET sometime in the future.